OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas better leave me alone. Talking about niggas is low. Run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I make that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the gang, and we split it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight, cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day, they still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't. I'm rolling up loud, it's great. Lil' mama, she bad but complain, cause I'm too in love with my dreams. And I gotta get on the plane, and go get this money with this. I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang.
I get the bag with the gang, taking that Zach to the bank. Henny be all in my drink. You niggas is stupid, you think that should change? You not even hot in your gang. Ain't nothing even hot about your gang. You niggas be lying about same. Be posting them pictures of guns for the fame. Niggas just look at me different now. Say that's your man, but he a clown. But fuck around with the fuck arounds. Little nigga, you should cut it out. Me and my niggas take different routes. Punch a bitch nigga all in his mouth. Hold up my nigga, we different now. I need a Robert, it's just my style. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I get a bitch today, she probably a foreign model. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I'm with my gang today, tomorrow never promise.
OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang.
I think I'm cute, I know I'm sexy. I've got the look that drives the girls, while I got the moves that really move them. I send chills up and down their spines. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. Let's go! I make them hot, I make them shiver. These get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk, they hear me talk. I make them feel like their God ain't real. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. That might flip those. Hands off the merchandise. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy, I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. Welcome everybody to the Pocket Locker Podcast. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast. And as always, folks, I am in airplane mode. Folks, we got a great show lined up for you today and a short one. We're not going to be before you long today. I want to keep the show kind of digestible. Just a few things I definitely want to get into with you guys today. Let's start off with some communion. This one comes to us from OG Roddy. It's called the I Love You Mix.
Two fucking bars, nigga.
Whoa. Is that?
Hey, what up?
They know my campaign. Now they running up on Roddy like it's second place. They wanna know if I'm a prop or I'm the real plane. Landed in Austin and I even brought my own strain. Gang, yeah, fuck is they talking about? Link up with Freddie, got it booming cause it's Mo South. Then we hit the spot, my OG had it packed out. Getting love in every city, what it's all about. Facts, yeah, know when I'm back home. At the blueprint eating chicken with some bad Johns. And they bad, but not like the one that's at home. And she bad, but not like them kids we had, Lord. Yeah, I'm still up in my mode. Hit my connect, he make the close, I run the give and go. Just ask the ones who fucking with me if you didn't know. They say the plane was always on it and he always
All right, I got Dave first.
I want you. You're the one that I live for. I can't take it anymore, but I love you. I need you. What can I do
10,000
to
pocket
make you
change.
see? You're the only one for me. I told Jay I'ma just stick to the code. He wished me well and told me how he been noticing growth. Told all my niggas down on Serato, let's get this dough. Figure of speech, I'm just saying my niggas gotta glow. Yeah, I thought I changed up, but in fact I just got better at the same stuff. Even when I was a minor, I was major. Independent, I remember how they played us. Yeah.
5,000 pocket
though.
change.
See how everything changed, getting money, bro. Seen them even throwing shade when it's sunny, though.
Cameron Bennett,
on the
let's go.
plane, I ain't even in a lane, though. Yeah, but I still be on the road. Head to toe on all my merch, I'm smoking at the shop. And they booking Henny too, I gotta bring my bro. Wonder if and when I stop, I tell them never know. I love you, I want you. You're the one that I live for. I can't take it anymore, but I love you. I need you. What can I do to make you see? You're the only one for me. I love you, I miss you, I need you in my life. Can't you see what you mean to me? Baby, come hold me tight. I miss you, wanna kiss you every time.
Nice. All right, let's get back into it. Let's go ahead and do our communion hymn, and then we'll go ahead and hit our theme song real quick. All right, y'all already know the drill. I'm looking layman today. I got my cut on. I'm keeping my cut on. I feel like wearing my damn vest. All right, here we go. Please raise your glass. Man, look. Let me make sure we're ready to go here. Boop. I got a different browser up today. Please raise your glasses and hold on to your asses. Through him, with him, in the unity of the flying man. All glory and honor is yours who flied for our sins forever and ever. You may drink. All right, and this one comes to us courtesy of Foy Vance. It's our theme song. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name.
And he's going to play us out. Foy, you're going to play what to finish us up?
Do you know what? I don't know the name of this song, actually, but I know the song, and so will you.
Oh, look forward to this. Foy Vance, take it away.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Well, all those nights when you got no lights and the check is in the mail, and your little angel on the cowherd by its tail. Your third fiancé didn't show. Well, sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. And you're always glad they came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Well, you get out of bed and the coffee's dead. The morning isn't looking bright. You shrink right off to Europe and he doesn't even write. Your girlfriend says she's not a girl. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Foy Vance. Most common word coming in by text, Foy, is goosebumps. Believe it or not, we've had that repeatedly across a whole series. If you want to see Foy Vance's cheeky grin when he sang the line, "When you find your girlfriend is a guy," you can go on the website. We'll upload a video of Foy singing that. If you want to see him live, 6th of December in Roisin in Galway, 7th of December in Whelan's in Dublin, and the new album is Joy of Nothing. Foy, thank you again.
Thank you, mate.
This thing takes forever to cut my scenes. I can't wait to get my new streaming computer. This one just takes It'll get there. It'll do what I want it to do. It's just taking its sweet time. That's all. Just taking its sweet time. All right, gang. Let me get today's first story pulled up. Thanks. Appreciate that. All right. So before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out and thanks to Cliff. I actually had a nice afternoon with Cliff. Cliff came over. We didn't stream, but he came over and we put together the TV stand and the TV. So I finally got the new 75-inch screen mounted and hung up. Yeah, I just got to get it in position now, but Cliff came over to help me out with that. That was a big, huge help. Let me see something. This just looks terrible. All right, yeah, this stream's way out of sync right now. I don't know why. It was fine when I tested it earlier. It looks like absolute dog shit. So let's switch it up right now. I'm going to just go into theater mode and read the first story for you guys, and we'll take it from there. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is this new variant of COVID, and it's called the Kraken. It's a highly contagious version of the Omicron variant known officially as XBB 1.5, or its subvariant nickname Kraken, is quickly spreading through the U.S. The young subvariant was first detected in New York State in the fall. It currently makes up about 28% of cases in the U.S. and about 72% of cases in the Northeast, according to the CDC. It's a highly mutated version of the virus that appears to be able to better evade immune defenses and invade cells, with some experts calling it the most transmissible variant yet. Scientists say it remains rare in much of the world, but they expect it to spread quickly and globally. To understand more, I spoke with my colleague Carl Zimmer, a science reporter who covers the coronavirus. He's the author of that textbook that I recommended to Otangelo. Some of you remember back in the day, I recommended a textbook to Otangelo. It was Carl Zimmer's textbook. It's a very popular evolution textbook. Anyway, what should we know about XBB 1.5? It looks like XBB 1.5 is a cut above the other Omicron subvariants in terms of getting around our defenses, and it's also a very transmissible virus. We won't know the full XBB 1.5 story until it's over, but right now it's definitely looking like it could potentially become dominant in the United States, maybe even the world. Is it more deadly than other variants? Unfortunately, there's not a lot of data on its effects. From what I've heard from experts, it doesn't look like it's any more severe, which is good, but it takes time for a variant to become common enough that it infects people in large numbers, and then for some of those people to end up in the hospital and then analyze all those numbers. It's really surging here in the northeastern U.S., but we don't have great medical information systems to get quick answers on that. Where did XBB 1.5 come from? XBB 1.5 descends from something called XBB, and XBB is a very unusual form of COVID. It may have emerged in the spring or summer last year, possibly in India. What's unusual about XBB is that it was the product of two different forms of Omicron that both infected someone. As they were replicating inside that person, their genes were mixed together, and then we got a new hybrid. And this hybrid is very good at evading defenses from vaccines and infections. So it caused a big surge in Singapore in the fall, but it didn't really become that common elsewhere because it was competing with so many other subvariants. But as it multiplied, it started gaining more mutations. So XBB gave rise to XBB1, and then XBB1 mutated again into XBB 1.5, and it looks like XBB 1.5 gained a really crucial mutation that helps it grab tightly onto your cells, which makes it more transmissible on top of doing a better job of escaping antibodies. So it looks really concerning, and in places like the northeastern U.S., it's the fastest growing subvariant out there. How worried should we be? Depends on how you were before. If you weren't worried before, you should have been and you should remain worried. A year ago, the first Omicron subvariant surged to dominance. Since then, we have seen an explosion of new forms of Omicron, and they continue to gain mutations that help them to spread. In December, we had a really fast spreading virus out there, and now we have one that's even faster. So it's a good time to take it seriously. What will this do to the course of the pandemic in the U.S.? I've been talking to scientists who are watching this really closely, and nobody thinks that we're looking at something like what we saw a year ago when Omicron first slammed in the U.S. Back then, we had record-breaking caseload and record-breaking hospitalizations. It won't be that bad, but how bad it will be, it's hard to say. There probably will be a surge, and we're already dealing with a lot of COVID in the U.S., so it's a bad time for an even faster spreading virus to show up. All right. There you have it. I don't really know what to cut to because my camera's being a jerk. Yeah, it's really out of sync. So yeah, I just want everybody to be careful. I wanted to put that in the show for today because it popped up in my news feed. And quite frankly, I get really, really frustrated that I feel like nobody's talking about COVID. It doesn't make me feel any more secure or better to not feel like people are talking about the latest information. And yeah, I just want to encourage everybody to look out for themselves. Obviously, get vaccinated, get boosted. That's the question of the day. Are you up on your vaccine and your boosters? To be honest, I think I'm due for another booster, which I believe will be my third. I think I've gotten 2. I got the original 2, and then I think I've gotten 2 boosters since, and I think I'm due for what will be my 3rd booster, my 5th COVID shot, because supposedly we should be taking the new bivalent boosters, I think they're called, where they're all Omicroned out or whatever. So I need to do that. To be honest, I'm thinking about doing it sort of in the middle of the spring because I'm supposed to travel out to the West Coast to do some stuff potentially with Derek. So I think that may be a good time to do it. All right. So yeah, that's why that ended up in today's thing. You know, I want to keep it in the forefront of our minds. Make sure we're, you know, just taking in the good information. Like I said, it really frustrates me. Part of this reason it's on my mind is because I think Diamond from Diamond and Silk passed away. There were 2 right-wing, I don't know, Trumplican entertainers, for lack of a better way to put it. Part of the meme scene in Trump world. And there's some speculation out there because they've been very vague about the circumstances that perhaps this, you know, known anti-vaxxer is another tragic loss to COVID, perhaps totally unnecessarily. So yeah, that's why it ended up in today's show. And yeah, let's see what to do about just moving into our story. A little bit frustrated with the camera thing, but I think we should be okay. Yeah, I know what to do. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into our first story, which is all about Joe Biden. Like, y'all, like with all the shit we got going on, fucking Joe Biden has now had confidential documents found in his offices. And so now, just as the Republicans are taking control, this fool grandpa done fucked around and put some coals in their fire. Oh, Lord.
Covering all week after fewer than one. There's an update late today to a story NBC has been covering all week after fewer than 1 dozen Some documents with classified markings were found at an office used by now President Joe Biden in the days following his vice presidency. An exhaustive search was undertaken, and it has turned up more. NBC News is reporting this, quote, aides discovered at least one additional batch of classified documents in a location separate from the Washington office President Biden used after leaving the Obama administration. That's according to a person familiar with the matter. The classification level, the number and precise location of the additional documents is, at the moment, not immediately clear. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Carol Lee on this exclusive reporting of hers. Charlie Sykes and Eddie Glaude are back with us. Carol, tell us what you are reporting.
Well, Nicole, look, one of the questions, many questions that we've had since these revelations of this initial batch of documents at the president's Washington, D.C. office came to light is, were there other documents? And what we know from our own reporting is that that the president's aides have discovered additional documents in a location that's different from that office that he set up after he left the vice presidency here in Washington. And now there's a number of locations where the president, has lived and worked and conducted business. He has two houses in Delaware. There was a time when some documents were in storage after he left the vice presidency. And so what we also know is that aides to the president have been going through documents, boxes of materials, things from his time as vice president to get a sense of what else might be out there and what the scope of this could be, with presumably the goal of being of what they did with the initial documents that they found, which is turn them over to the National Archives. And then obviously the Justice Department would add those to the documents that they've been reviewing. So we know now that there is more than one batch of classified documents that's out there in multiple locations, and that there has been this effort to try to get their arms around what the scope of this problem might be.
And Carol, your reporting makes clear that the reason we know this is from Biden's team doing this search for them. What does that search look like? What stage of that search are they in? And at this point, it's also clear from your excellent reporting that they are the ones delivering the documents to the National Archives and DOJ, that there's no.
Yeah, I also wanted to quickly mention the stuff about the getting vaccinated. If you can, it is a really good idea to get your other vaccines at once. I know here a lot of people are getting the flu. My one black friend just had the flu. It took a pretty serious toll on him. He's fortunately recovering and he sounds a lot better, but you can tell he's still getting his strength back to him. Yeah, none of this is anything to mess with. I don't want to say too much because I don't really like the fact that these conversations invite trolls and troll-like remarks. I'll ban a motherfucker quickly. But yeah, just get vaccinated. I'm a scientist. If you disagree with that, you're gonna have to go somewhere else. Keep it to yourself.
Obstruction, there's no concern at the National Archives that the parallels to the Trump and criminal investigation end with the existence of the classified materials themselves, based on what we know now.
Yeah, based on what we know, Nicole, this is not a situation where the president and his lawyers are having a back and forth and arguments and there's resistance in terms of turning things over. The White House has said, the president himself has said that him and his team are fully cooperating with this review and that they want to essentially try to move past this. The president said that he hopes that this is something that would be over sooner rather than later. And so what our understanding of the dynamic is now is that they found these documents. There's still this open question, though, of why the president's lawyers were closing out this office in Washington, D.C. That just seems like something that you would have a lower level staffer do. But nonetheless, the White House says the president's lawyers found these documents while clearing out his office in Washington, turned them over. What we know now is that that's not the only group of documents that the president's team has discovered. And so they're also trying to figure out what else is out there. We don't know whether that search is ongoing and continues when it began, but presumably once they figured this out, that made this initial discovery on November 2nd, there would have been discussions about whether there were things elsewhere where the president might have kept some documents, and then an effort to try to figure out if there's anything else out there.
So, Charlie, on Earth One, Carol's reporting is meticulous and careful. The Biden lawyers are trying to get their arms around this, return these documents to their rightful owner. The White House even acknowledges that it understands. I spoke to a senior official yesterday who said, of course, this is a story, but the parallels do end after the existence of classified documents. There's no obstruction of justice underway. There's no refusal to turn things over. But on Earth 2, none of that matters, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough,
right.
that's the tough part about this, y'all. It's like, it's the type of certain mistakes you can't make. You gotta be sensitive to the political climate, you know. Man, it's crazy. Like, like you would think, like with all this shit going on about Trump's documents, you know, you would have wished Joe Biden had some people. You know what? Just in case, why don't y'all do a little double take on everything real quick, just to be sure, just to be sure. Get out in front of this thing, you know. But now the story that I think for them is going to be, he had documents in his office, locked in a closet. Like some goddamn intern. Yo, I told y'all the documents. I forget who we started this conversation with. I think it was Wayne or somebody said to me something like, yo, man, I just don't think these documents are going to be the thing. And I was like, bro, based on my experience in government, trust me, these documents are going to be the thing. And the reason I said that, y'all, was because I worked in a prosecutor's office when we prosecuted the former mayor of Newark, New Jersey. I was there when Cory Booker was the mayor. The previous mayor was Sharp James. We prosecuted him a whole bunch of shit on federal charges. Actually, Chris Christie, who some of you know as a Republican presidential candidate, former governor of New Jersey, was actually the U.S. attorney for the state of New Jersey at the time. So it was in coordination with his office. Really, we're responding to subpoenas from his office. Anyway, what literally happened, y'all, one shit that did not even make it to trial that they ended up pleading on was a bunch of documents that were found in a fucking closet in the fucking law department. And the reason I knew that was because for most people, these type of paper crimes seem so nuanced, maybe silly, downright trivial in many cases, compared to like, yo, dude committed a fucking insurrection, right? But so many crimes are really, really difficult to prove. With these document crimes, this is gonna sound redundant, but it's not. Think about it. There's documentary evidence. So it's almost like something has to then be done about the fact that, right, like it creates very manifest evidence that no one can ignore. And so I kind of figured when I heard about Trump with the confidence, I was like, yep, nope, that's a big deal. Also, I worked in the Special Collections Library. We did a stream on that. I showed you how crazy secure even universities are with their special collections in terms of high security, only allowed to access them and read them in secure locations and stuff like that. So I kind of knew this document shit would be serious. Now, fast forward to now, Joe Biden has his own version of the same shit, documents found in the closet. There's just nothing to do about it. Just like, can't do anything about this now. Yep, there were, in fact, confidential documents found in the fucking closet. Shit. Like it's like a dead body. Like you just can't, there's certain crimes you just can't make go away. And yeah, that's a good way to put it. Documents found like this are the fucking, they're the fucking legal basic, the equivalent of dead bodies in the closet. Like you just found the body. Like it's like you can't make the shit go away. You found the shit. I remember very well. And now they got even more legs because they went looking for the rest of the documents and they found even more documents. Now, again, that's what you're supposed to do, right? They turned them all over. Then you're supposed to go, hey, let's do an exhaustive search of everywhere and make sure there isn't any more documents to turn over. But again, the fact that now they found some more, y'all already know it's going to be some drama with the right wing. So we're going to be hearing about this, y'all, probably for the next, y'all tell me. Because some of y'all trying to act funny. Some of y'all trying, like, Jay, they're just going to talk about this for a couple of months and it's going to, y'all, some of y'all know what's up. And we're going to be talking about this for at least 2 or 3 more years. And some of y'all really know what's up. And we might be talking about these motherfucking documents for a motherfucking decade. You think I'm lying? Ask me about Hillary's emails. How long have we been talking about Hillary's emails? How long are we going to be talking about Hunter Biden's laptops? Nigga, y'all thought the Hunter Biden's laptops was some bullshit and the Hunter Biden's laptop story was dead. Nigga, the Hunter Biden's laptop story is ramping up. 2023 is about to be the year of Hunter Biden's laptops. So really, really think about it. Really, really think about it before you tell me how long you think we're going to be talking about these goddamn documents for. Because I think the answer is longer than you care to admit right now.
And people need to try to hold these two ideas in your head at the same time. Number one, that these are very, very different cases. There are a lot of distinctions between the Biden documents and the obstruction of justice that Donald Trump engaged in. But also, you need to hold the other idea.
See, Jerome, you got a lot of opinions, but I really don't agree with most of them. Like, bro, just be way off base. See, Americans are actually not starved for content. Americans, I think, have too much content. And I don't think we do talk about the same things ad nauseum. Matter of fact, didn't I just do a story about a fucking pandemic that we basically refuse to talk about anymore? Americans are so overwhelmed with bad news that literally we should be talking about the fucking school shootings ad nauseum that happened recently. But which school shooting? Because in the last 30 days, literally the audience doesn't even know which school shooting I'm talking about. Guess what? I don't even know which school shooting I'm talking about. So no, we have the 24-hour news cycle and it chews that news up, it spits it the fuck out. Yes, we get a lot of content out of it, but then we be on to some other shit the next day because bad shit just keeps happening all the time. And honestly, I really seriously think it fucks with us because we don't talk about stories long enough. We don't reflect on shit. We don't really sit around and think about all the ways, like literally, like we're not even processing the fucking data of what the fuck we've learned about January 6th in the last month because again, it's fucking document scandals over here, natural disasters over here, there's still a fucking war going on over here, Biden's new documents is over here, Trump's taxes is coming out, so now we want to talk more about the taxes. It's like
in your head that this is not helpful to the Biden White House. This is a blow to the prosecution, and it's going to be an ongoing political headache for Joe Biden, because we know that the Trump world and the Republicans, flourish in the age of whataboutism, and this hands them a whataboutism on a silver platter, and they will exploit this because one thing we've learned is that nuance is one of the first things that gets lost. Distinction can be blurred over in this modern media age. So this is an unfortunate development for the Biden White House, and it is an unfortunate development, I think, for people who were thinking that the prosecution of Donald Trump was, for what happened in Mar-a-Lago, was a slam dunk. I mean, there's other prosecutions out there, but again, we need to remember that this is not Earth One, where life is fair and that decisions are made calmly and reasonably with all of these distinctions. We live on Earth 2.0, and we're going to continue to do so.
So I don't know where to put this occurrence, Eddie, but I'm going to share it with you. I don't spend a lot of time on social media, but I peek at it before I come on the air, and I saw that Karl Rove was trending, and so I clicked on it, and he's trending. My understanding is that he's trending because he took a sort of Tim Russert-style whiteboard and he wrote the ways that the Biden documents and the Trump documents were different. He tried to inject a little bit of the facts and reason from Earth 1 into his existence squarely on Earth 2. And he's trending, I think, because that isn't always welcome over there. But this larger distinction where, it is Carol.
What's up, y'all? What's up, None? I'm sorry, y'all. I got to be honest with you. I was afraid to block Jerome Robinson for a really long time. Really, really. Because here's the thing. just like fuckface Doug, I really think we're better off without certain people. Certain people are so annoying, so irritating that this is what I'm afraid of, y'all. Do y'all feel the peace? Do you just feel the release? Do you just feel the solitude come over the chat? Did you just feel the quality of conversation just take a step up? Did you just feel a release of trollness? Huh? Admit it. Admit it. This is what you were afraid of. Peter W., your ass is next. I keep trying to tell y'all, we are literally afraid of how fucking good shit would be without you. Try a motherfucker.
Craft
So
to
nice.
have just facts and to make sure they're accurate. It is a normal American president's instinct to return things they shouldn't have to the National Archives. But again, the craftsmanship involved in the pursuit of facts and the responsibility of a normal president of either party when classified materials are found doesn't exist over there on Earth 2, which is, of course, where a lot of this is swirling around now. What are your concerns as this story develops?
Well, first of all, journalists need to do what they do. The president needs to be as transparent as possible, as forthright as possible.
Hey, John, that's what we do around here, baby. We force people to play their hands, and then we shut that shit down. Y'all, speaking of shut that shit down, I did forget to mention our sweet little darling, Rebecca. So question, chat, is it over already? Like, did Rebecca already jump the shark on her return? Like, today's stream was a barrel of disappointments. I don't really know how to put it to you, but there was a sense of anticipation, I dare say. Rebecca versus her brother, science versus religion, and we're really gonna see him go at her. And really there, you know, and it was just, oh my goodness, it was unsatisfying. Like Cliff was here, like we just started talking about science. You know, I hate talking about science on my spare time. And you know, it was just more interesting to talk about work when we really didn't have to than to listen to Rebecca's drivel. Like, y'all, I gotta be honest with you, and I'm gonna speak my mind on this. I really, really loathe Rebecca Davis. Like, I hate that bitch. Think it's fair to say that. And the bitch lied to me, right? I love when I know who a person is and I see him, and then I get to just clearly go at him because I'm just like, I know who you are. I know who the fuck you are. And I'm not going to let you play me. But Lord, maybe there is an atheist God who loves me because the sweet, sweet gift of when they make it personal, the sweet, sweet gift of when they then personally affront me, and then I get to get caught up in my feels. You know what I mean? In that regard, y'all, like, I'm like the Michael Jordan of YouTube, right? Not about the most subs, not about the most championships, really has nothing to do with being considered the greatest of all time. No. I'm the Michael Jordan of YouTube in the sense of taking everything way too personally. That's yeah. Look. You got something's got to get you up in the morning for practice, y'all. You know, something's got to motivate you to get through them sprints. Them fucking boring-ass team meetings, the long flights, the road trips, the time away from home, you know? You can't just be all strange bitches and Cuban cigars, you know? Every once in a while, you have to have an opponent, and you just got to take everything that comes out of their mouth that is wrong as though it is a personal affront to the security of your home. You know, Rebecca Davis is all up in my pockets, y'all. All up in my pockets. That bitch is scribbly on my paycheck. And I ain't fucking with it no more. And on top of that, y'all, the whole lied to me, right? Now, y'all cannot, now, I know, we all know Rebecca Davis is a liar. I know that. We all know Rebecca Davis is a fraud. Yes, of course. But then when she lied to me personally, I get to take the shit personal now. And it's more fun that way. Okay? And y'all heard the bitch get up in here and say, I'm going to reconsider how strongly I come out against evolution because I've talked to people like Jay and Dr. Dan and all these other people, and they're saying that I'm insulting their work and that they take it personally, and I'm really going to think about that, and I'm going to reflect on that. And the bitch has come back more weaponized than ever. Talking all of that evolution is ridiculous, nonsense, crazy caca talk. So now that's lying to my face. Is James? James is here. What's up, James?
Hey. Yeah, I've been here for a couple of minutes trying to talk, and for whatever reason it wasn't going through.
I muted it so because I didn't know anybody was in here, so it was making noise before.
Oh, it's all good. I wasn't sure if you just wanted to keep the mic, which is fine too.
Nah, but yeah, what are your thoughts about this? So James, I'm taking it personally, but can I be honest with you though? Mm-hmm. It's just too boring, bro. It's hard. I still don't care. Like, it's just unwatchable. Like, I really think she jumped the shark. Like, I was disappointed. Like, I want a little bit better opposition, something a little bit more entertaining, something a little bit more something. I've been just boring as shit now.
Tits or get the fuck off.
Tits or get the fuck off, James.
We boiled it down to that.
Did you try to watch that horse shit today? Oh my goodness.
Here's the thing. And I was talking to somebody about this today. She went live and they're like, "Are you gonna go over there?" And I'm like, "No, I got people for that." Like, they'll tell me if I miss something worth missing. They'll tell me, and then I'll see that part. Right? I don't got to sit there for hours.
No, the only thing you missed was how missable it was.
Is it because he didn't give her good pushback?
Like, somebody said this the other day. I think it was Wayne. It's like when somebody comes to rescue you for your side, and you're happy that they're sticking up for you, but then they keep talking. You're like, no, go away, no, not this one. So yeah, he was like very nominally pro-science. I believe in the Big Bang. I believe in evolution, but everything else was just a bunch of Christian fluff, right? And didn't really make much sense to me. So pretty much as he was talking, we were like, oh, he's just as bad as Rebecca. He's literally Rebecca without the particular anti-scientific talking points. Literally, like, he was like making up his theory of Jesus on the spot. Like, oh, I think you can maybe you just will your way into God's covenant. Yeah, maybe you just say, you know what, I read your promise in here and I demand that from you. And, you can I do believe there's part of the soul that's just will. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my goodness.
So like showing up in heaven as a Karen saying, I demand to talk to your manager.
But bro, one thing we learned is the problems run deep in that family. It was.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was. But we did get to hear, I think, was really good. The best part was at the beginning, which we heard her. She was very proud to tell us how she used to beat up on her little brother. She was really over the moon about that. Not surprising. Yeah, I used to whoop his little ass when he was a kid.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man!
I mean, I'm sure he's got some good stories to tell, but yeah, I mean, do you think that's why the episode disappeared? Because it was just shit?
Oh, it's not there anymore?
That's what people in chat are saying.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Yeah. And I think it was interesting. Like there was a lot of like interesting stuff about their family dynamics and churches they used to go to and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it all just sort of reinforced sort of the picture we already had. Maybe chat got some more information than I did out of it, but did
they tip their hand about what kind of abuse or neglect in their formative years made them not develop well, like in their brain? Did they talk about that at all? Like they didn't get enough nutrition for a whole winter?
Not that I caught. It does seem like it's really deep in their family. Like Rebecca did mention, I think her mom being scared when she came home with like an annotated origin of species or something like that. And I was like, man, I need to send her another one. But here's the thing. So Cliff was over because I actually needed it. It was really weird because I live in like a bubble. Like I haven't seen anybody, right? But I asked Cliff to come by because I needed somebody to help me put up that big ass TV. So he was here, and he's heard us talk about Rebecca, right? But he's never really watched her, I don't think. And I mean, it took about 30 seconds for him to just be like, yeah, this is totally not interesting. She's just not listening. She's just deadpanning, waiting for a chance to talk, smiling, waiting. Everything's going in one ear and out the other. She's not listening at all. Not listening
Even
at all.
to her own brother, huh?
And I was sitting there like, God, we were blinded by the rose-colored Rebecca effect because it really is that easy to see through.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I was one of the first people to see through it. I don't want to keep bragging about it, but
yeah, no, you were definitely one of the first ones. I was on the train pretty early because at first people weren't feeling it. People were like pissed at me. And I was like, no, Rebecca's. I had to be like, this is a very anti-evolution person. I don't know why you guys think I should be, on board with this.
I mean, there's still some people that are butthurt about that we don't treat Rebecca the way they want us to treat Rebecca.
No, Rebecca Davis is even today. She's really scraping the bottom of the barrel for me at this point. Like it's, she's like her character is really deficient, right? Like there's something really wrong with the person to do this. And again, I do think it's a little bit different. Like again, I think there's a perspective where people are able to distance themselves from what somebody is anti-science, because again, it just really seems like you're denying facts or theories or whatever. But there's a way that I think even Rebecca now knows how much of the human endeavor she's really rejecting. And she does it so gleefully. Like to me, she's, I don't know, pick a name out of a hat. Ken Copeland, Ken Ham, Kent Hovind. Like I don't, she's on that tip to me now. She's just as bad as all of them. Sitting there talking about how ridiculous all of this stuff is. And yeah, it's just, yeah. And even the whole thing, like, it just felt weird, right? Because he's still a Christian. So to me, his whole worldview was just wishy-washy, right? His whole thing seemed like, our dad was really religious, but he was also a scientific man. Like, what does that mean? He used a telephone? I don't understand. But it just like, it was clear things never really clicked for him either, And and then I think, and then at the end too, she gave him a chance to like say some closing words, and he kind of came at atheists for no reason. It was real ugly. Yeah, like it was real like. Because I think, or maybe he had been reading the chat all of a sudden or something, but he was basically like, yeah, I know you guys are atheists, but I do think you're intellectually honest, and we love you, or something like this. And then he said something like, I still think you have purpose, and you can find it one day and maybe you won't be so angry or something like this. Like he said something like, maybe you settle down and have a family and you and I'm just sitting there like, oh my Lord. Like
who the fuck is he talking to in the chat? That he's sure?
Not us. He didn't realize who was in the audience, bro. Like it was kind of entertaining, I guess, in that regard, but it just was really like, wow, she's way off, man.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, is her father/uncle still alive? I would like to find out the backstory there. That could answer so many questions for us.
Yeah. It's interesting, but yeah, I didn't even, originally I was gonna like maybe stream it or do a stream, and then I was like, I don't even want to. It's just not even. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I was wondering if anybody else wanted to hop in and say anything else. All right, but James, where are you at on this Joe Biden's document stuff? And then I'm glad you're here because I'm actually going to go into the main story after this. It's not going to be too long of a stream. And then I really want to get your thoughts on that.
So I can't wait to find out what the rest of the information is. What were the documents exactly? Like, how are they tracing them directly to him? Did he have to sign for them and then just never signed it back in? Can they like it just doesn't make any sense to me, and none of it makes any sense because why is it that the entire department, whose responsibility it is to maintain those documents, to preserve them for posterity and for legal purposes, etc., why is it that they're always throwing their hands up like, I don't know where the stuff's at? Like, if you go to the public library right down the street, and even the smallest, tiny little middle of nowhere town in America, and you ask them, where is this book at? They'll know exactly where on the shelf it's supposed to be. And if it's not there, they know exactly who in the hell had it last. And if the person that had it last didn't bring it back in, the damn day it's late, they will tell that person, we ain't had this book back yet. Where is it? We're going to start charging you per the day, right? And how is it that, like, one of the most powerful nations in the world and the office who's responsible for maintaining these documents are always like, yeah, we don't know who had this shit last, if we got it back or not. Maybe it's back there somewhere. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Look under the microwave. Maybe it's back there. Like, how is that shit? Nobody ever talks about this, right? Like, how now? And then now they all of a sudden find Joe Biden's documents. How'd that happen? Did somebody plant them there? Or if not, why in the hell did he not? I mean, if he was going to keep them for his own purposes, I think they would be in Joe Biden's home, or I would think would be in Joe Biden's the trunk of his car, or something. Like, they'd be in his, because Trump did, right? Like, that shit's at his house, right? In boxes.
Right.
So we're not talking about boxes of stuff. We're not talking about in his own personal home. There's a lot of vagueness going on. Like, can they really trace them directly to Joe Biden as the last person that had his hands on them? And how is it that, why is it that he didn't return them? And it's just, it doesn't really matter what the answers are, right? It can end up being some trivially insignificant piece of technically classified bullshit that's like ages old, and it doesn't matter. Like you said, they're going to be talking about this for decades, right? It's going to be Hunter Biden's laptops all over again, no matter what happens.
Right.
And so here's the thing. Like, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist about this, and we'll see how it plays out. But the timing's kind of coincidental, and that they keep finding more and more. And I'm like, how is it that you cannot be in an office for years, and that's where that shit's laying around at? Like, nobody's been in that office and using it since. And if they were, they never noticed it sitting there. Like, where was this shit at? You know, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't underneath the magazine in the bathroom. Like, where was this stuff at? Come on.
Dude, I literally had the same questions when I was part of that investigation in the mayor's office. The only thing that made me think maybe it was legit was because we were the first people in there after it changed, right? Mm-hmm. But dude, they were in standard, like, office, you know those brown fucking boxes, right? That you keep office documents in with little fucking tops on them. They're like strong ass cardboard or whatever the fuck they are. And they were just sitting there in fucking folders. And I literally said to myself, they were either the sloppiest people ever or somebody wanted us to find these.
Right.
Because when I went and presented them to the law, because I actually presented the evidence to the corporation counsel, because they gave me the box. They looked through these. I guess they didn't want to be. They wanted to see if there's something in them first or whatever. But I went through and I walked them through how they did, and I was like, it's just sitting here like this. I was like, there's no way, there's no way. Dude did Fed time over that shit. So literally, literally, he had kindergarten cops running that shop, or somebody wanted to fuck him and just left it there. Just I'll just leave these here. when somebody comes looking for him, they'll be like, I think this is what they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I had that moment, bro. That shit was crazy, bro. That shit was crazy. Because then I got to watch all it play out. Like, that was a national news story, right? And I was like, yeah, I found him. You know, it was crazy. It's one of these shits for me. It was wild. Like, I still remember talking to my dad about that shit in the car. But yeah, it's too convenient. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is too convenient. It doesn't make sense. I can't wait to hear what the rest of the information is. Now, and as I see it, this information shouldn't have been sent to the public until they had the rest of the relevant information to give us all at once, right? And it seems like releasing it in little pieces like this is meant to encourage rumors and gossip and theory and finger pointing. And it's meant to create all these problems and further polarization and division. Just wait till you got your facts straight, right? And then release all of that information at once, whatever it is you can afford to tell us, right? Like, how hard is that? So, you know, at the same time, like, I don't trust Joe Biden. And it's not for the reasons that the conservatives don't trust him.
Right.
And so...
You just think he's like a run-of-the-mill,
I think he's
sold out politician.
So he's what I would call a conservative. And
100%. Yeah.
So when this whole, like, when Roe versus Wade lost its power, like when we no longer have that protection in place in law, he acted all offended, like, oh no, you know, poor America that this happened. But he's a Catholic, right? And he's a conservative. And he's just saying what he had to say to his support base.
Yeah,
I think he intentionally dropped the ball on that issue again and again and again, waiting for it to be overturned, and was glad that it finally was. He didn't ever want to see Roe versus Wade in law, but he had to play political theater in order to maintain his position in the stage.
So you think he rolled over on Roe v. Wade? I think that is absolutely reasonable.
It is.
Because again, I've said it since the beginning. He's too Catholic for his own good. He always has been. The other thing is, right, because he's really about it. Like, he can't shut up. He can't not be Catholic. Like, he can't give a presidential address. He can't give you a Christmas welcome, nothing, without being uber Catholic about everything. And then I think he did the same thing on COVID relief. I think he did the same thing on student loan debt relief.
Absolutely.
He just takes the convenient stance that he needs to take because he's the captain of the blue team, technically.
Political theater. All of it political theater.
And then when he can't, and then I think he does something that a lot of Democrats are guilty of. They just become emboldened to say the right thing when they're not in power. Like, right now, he's going to be talking all types of shit about what he would love to do for America. Why? Because he knows the House. He can't get shit through the House. He knows he can't get shit through the Republican House. So now it's safe to talk. But as soon as we got control of all three branches, it was, well, we really should do it the right way. Well, you know, technically the legislature should really do that, and I shouldn't do an executive order. Well, you know, technically the the courts, I don't want to interfere with what's going on in the court. You know, it was always an excuse why he can't do anything, right? When they actually had the leverage.
I think that he's weaponized against the liberals or the left or the Democratic Party, whatever you want to call it. I think that he's not embarrassed by those documents at all, no matter what they are. I think he's trying to delegitimize the side of the fence that he's never had true allegiance to. I think it's part of the whole political theater. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And I don't know that. The other stuff I'm sure about. This I'm not sure about.
James,
but it wouldn't surprise me.
Is this part of your reason why he makes Kamala his VP, just so he can cut the legs out from under her?
You just don't know, man. There's so much, happening behind closed doors, backstage.
Shit, James, we get conspiracy theory around here too. We some reasonable motherfuckers. Our conspiracy theories is half believable. Shit.
Yeah.
We good. We better at this.
Yeah, hell yeah, we are.
We should make a bi-weekly stream, James, and just come up with some left-wing conspirations.
Shit, yeah.
Damn right-wingers having all the fun.
Right. I should start a channel. I should start a channel where it's just that. Where it's just the, and like just conspiracy theories, but aim the other direction. Like nothing but that. Like I'll bet no matter how crazy it got, people would like subscribe and say, in fact, I bet the more crazy it got, the more
subs, man.
Subs I'd have, the more people would be like, hell yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like I could just work my way up to the lizard people invasion, right? I could just work my way up to that. And people would be like, yep, million subs, man, million subs. And it's just crazy. That's just the political climate. That's just the social climate that we're in right now, And what do you say to that, right? Just you ride with it or you don't. So I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think Biden's going to lose a moment of sleep. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't, right? But I don't, because he's holding falls asleep all the time. Yeah.
But
there you go.
Yeah, I've never been a Joe Biden guy, right? Now I've admitted where he's done better than I expected him to, but I think a lot of that's just the party. It's like it represents the center of the party, and it's whack, right? Like it's god awful. It's like it's like saying I really didn't expect shit from them, and I have to give them credit. They did more than nothing. Like that's right. That's how I really feel about it. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So beyond that, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, all we can do is wait and see what information they feed us, and then wonder if we can trust it and wonder what it's going to mean. But at the end, we already know how it's going to play out. They're just going to milk it for everything that it's worth. They're going to exaggerate everything on the other side of the fence. They're going to do everything they can to delegitimize the other guys. And because they keep doing that back and forth, it delegitimizes the entire government. And they never seem to mind that that's happening because it doesn't really undermine their power to delegitimize their entire structure. As long as they can keep pointing over the fence and saying, those are the bad guys, and they've got their half of the population saying, yeah, we agree, those are the bad guys. It doesn't matter that the whole world can see how illegitimate our government is, as long as the American people, enough of them are still thinking, oh, it's legitimate. The problem is just those guys over there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So nothing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And to be honest, I wish he would have done more on this. That would have made me a little bit more supportive of Joe Biden had he kind of gone all out, like I'm lame duck, and just gone out FDR style or something and give us some sort of crazy re-envisioning of the American dream. But I think to James's point, that's not who he is.
Not who he is. I want to know why these porn bot girls didn't show up on my birthday. That just seemed wrong to me.
This next story is a thing I really want to talk about, and I'd love to get your input on it because it's all about this. What did I call the stream? Semantic infiltration. Boom, did it.
Well, after never reaching a unanimous agreement on who should be their Speaker of the House, House Republicans are now unanimous about two things. First, House Republicans unanimously voted for a bill to defund the police. That's right. The very first thing House Republicans voted on was defunding the police. The police they want to defund
not that police
are the federal tax police.
Those police.
House Republicans have voted unanimously to defund the Internal Revenue Service in a way that would specifically target the capacity of the Internal Revenue Service to investigate the tax returns of the very richest people in America. Republicans voted unanimously to make it easier for America's richest people to get away with tax crimes.
And we can't even think about it, but talk
Republicans
about it.
have now voted unanimously.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Pretty much. No, that's it.
To create what our first guest tonight calls the Republican Committee to Obstruct Justice. Republicans are calling the committee, which is structured as a subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee, the, quote, select subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government. And that is a perfect example of what former Harvard professor and Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan called semantic infiltration. The concept of semantic infiltration is to infiltrate your opposition with your language that forces them to tell the lie that your language tells. A perfect example is Fox News.
All right, gang. Did y'all catch it again? This is the shit we got to talk about. This is what's going on in our motherfucking community every single day at all times. Okay? And there's a couple things that I think we're trying to touch on in this community, you know, aside just being way more fucking aggressive because I'm angry, and trying to deconvert your family because it's long overdue. But really calling out the fact that in all cases, our opposition, and yes, in all cases, we don't have to divide it up: science, theology, philosophy, politics, social issues, interpersonal issues, relationship. It doesn't matter. They do the same shit. Okay? We come at them with the science, with the objectified shit that everybody can see and observe, smell, touch, hear, feel, sound, all that good shit, using all your senses, okay? And then they come at us with some what? Some bullshit. And they don't ever have no real alternative that stands up to evidence, because if they did, they wouldn't be our opposition, duh. And so instead, they just try to poke holes at our side. I just poke holes at your side, and then I win by default because in their universe, everything's a false dichotomy. And so if they poke holes, they don't even have to bring your shit down. If they could just poke a hole in it or two, then they win by default. That's also not how winning works, but they're not really the rational type. So that's that.
I seen that happen today in a video review on one of the channels I follow. What's his name? Hunter Braxton, is that it? An apologist.
Oh yeah, the bald head dude with the redhead beard or whatever.
Yeah. So Scarlett did a review.
Yeah.
Scarlett did a review of one of his 10 questions atheists can't answer.
Oh, I got to do that because everybody's been hitting that up. I got to hit that up myself, I guess.
We need to.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing. He kept doing that semantic infiltration. He kept trying to turn it around with word games and try to maneuver his opponent into feeling like they owed him certain language and certain considerations, and that those were the default. And she kept having to explain how it's not, right? He's assuming the premise and he's misrepresenting like words, and he's just trying to spin things and manipulate perceptions, and like it's all based on certain pre-existing assumptions, and that he thinks you owe it to him to have, but there's no reason for you to have them. And
now you can think about it, and I was gonna say, like, that whole poking thing, that's sort of what their aim is to do. That's sort of the meta strategy, right? And then this semantic infiltration is like one of the pivotal techniques, right? It's one of the tactics they use to achieve that end of poking holes at their opponent. But it's kind of funny because it's a word game about word games. Even the word semantic infiltration. Word games. It just means word games. It just means they're using word games. They're trying to use word games. But this is a fun way to encapsulate word games, right? And really kind of elevate it to sharpen it, right? Because word games is rather vague. Right. Semantic infiltration kind of gives it a little bit more edge to it. Lets you know exactly what they're doing. They're taking words, they're twisting the meaning of those words as a weaponized strategy, right? And it goes along with the suite of things we've been learning to speak to this year, like abusive personalities and gaslighting, of course, right? And to me, this is again part of that toolkit. This is part of how people gaslight you. And an example is the video we saw on gaslighting, where this woman was talking about how, I don't know, King, whoever it was in the Bible, was gaslighting God because they didn't destroy everybody. And it was just the exact opposite. It was not at all what gaslighting is. It was not at all what gaslighting is.
She was gaslighting us by misrepresenting gaslighting in a very local way.
Exactly.
That's meta, man. That is meta gaslighting.
Some meta shit right there. And here's the thing, though. I now think that when you take it to that far, we just got to cut you at that point. At that point, when somebody's like, because here's the thing, it's even like the problem I see with Rebecca. She playing too sophisticated. Right? Like, we know she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about, right? But she's going to act like she knows what she's talking about. And now she keeps asking, what do I say to this? What do I say to this? What do I say to this? So eventually, she adopts the rhetoric of somebody with a more authoritative position. So the bitch may be clueless, but it don't matter at this point because you're doing so much well poisoning. We just have to get rid of you. You just have to, like... And so it kind of sucks on both sides because I think for us, we have to just acknowledge that it means we don't get to know who knows they're lying, who subjectively or objectively lying. Or we don't have time for that no more because they all sound the goddamn same,
Right. No, I've spoken about that at length about Rebecca, and every time somebody says she's not dishonest, she's completely honest, then I have to give them examples and show exactly where she made willful choices to be dishonest, right?
Right.
And if you call her out on it directly, she just dodge and weave, right?
Right.
And make herself unavailable for that conversation.
Yeah.
So,
even like, and it sounds like even a petty thing, but here's the thing. I wish I could go at Rebecca directly for some of the things I know she said to some of my friends, right? But I can go directly at Rebecca. You sat in my face and told me you were going to personally reconsider how you treat evolutionary biology because you realized it was a personal insult to the people who do that work for a living. You lied to me.
Yeah, she lied.
You either clearly didn't reconsider that, or you reconsidered it and doubled down. Oh, well then fuck you too, bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's like I say, well, Rebecca, I'm gonna go away and think about how to treat Rebecca Davis in the future. Yeah, I thought about it. Fuck that bitch, Rebecca Davis.
She's not loyal to anything. She's not even loyal to Jesus, and I can tell you that simply because she hasn't picked one yet.
James, the bitch just did a stream today, a 2-hour stream where she could throw her own brother under the bus. So you're not gonna get an argument from me. And again, it's like the same challenge I have for the Peter W's. It's like, bro, when you can't set your book aside once you realize it says hateful shit about your heathen child, of course I don't think you're a loyal type of person. Like, you just, like, there's, like, certain shit I require to feel like a person really functioning. And here's the thing, James, like, we kind of think it's all physics, right? So, would you get to hate anybody if you just had to I don't feel like it's our place to make excuses forever. At some point, people are accountable for their behavior. Like that's the way the system works. Even if we know at some level it's not their fault, we can't keep carrying their burdens for them, right? It's like they got to shape up at some point.
Sure. I mean, we call it out for what it is. When you have an opportunity to hold somebody accountable for something serious, do so. But let the rest go. It's generally my idea. So we could talk about it openly, and it's a good thing for the community, right?
Right.
And, and she brings it directly to us, then we can confront her directly. And I have before, you have before. But, at the end of the day, she's always going to be who and what she is. Her brain is just wired the way that it is. That's not okay. But brain damaged people do brain damaged things every damn day. It's a problem, right?
Right.
But I don't take it personal because they're running on automatic. They can't behave differently than they are. So we just got to call it out for what it is, talk about it openly, make sure that we aren't participating or enabling that bullshit, and then move forward. That's all we can do. The special kids in the back of the class are always going to be the special kids in the back of the class.
Also, Lena, I know you mentioned earlier that there's a church moving in next to your place of work. I don't know if you wanted to come in and talk about that a little bit, but feel free if you'd like to. All right, James, let's keep rolling this and let me know what you think. We can pause anytime.
Is to infiltrate your opposition with your language that forces them to tell the lie that your language tells. A perfect example is Fox News. Every time someone says the words Fox News, they are lying about what Fox News does. That is a deliberate lie created by Rupert Murdoch when he created the Fox Republican propaganda channel and infiltrated the opposition to Republican propaganda by forcing the opposition to call his propaganda channel Fox News. The propaganda channel created by Rupert Murdoch is not now and never has been in the news business, which is why I don't use the name that Rupert Murdoch gave to his propaganda channel. Every time you use the name that Rupert Murdoch gave his propaganda channel, you have successfully allowed Rupert Murdoch to infiltrate your own vocabulary, your own semantics.
This is what gets me. That's why people know I don't like the term evolutionist, because it's not a way you should describe an evolutionary biologist. That's why I don't like the term Darwinist. That's why I hate the term intelligent design theory. You don't have a theory. You don't have a, But even when they sometimes go, oh, well, it's just a matter of origins. Like we just, there's two different approaches to the question of origins. No, we don't use that term. Right? And there's a reason, because only people who want to legitimize a debate that shouldn't be a debate want to use that term. But yeah, this is really. I saw this a lot today with Rebecca, where we say that, James, what we have is, we have scientific theories, right? And we're saying we support the consensus support of those theories: Big Bang, evolution, old Earth, gradualism, whatever it is. Now, of course, we have to tell a story to summarize what we currently understand, right? Mm-hmm. So Rebecca insists on hammering home what word? Narrative. Oh, so can you see today? Well, what's that narrative? Well, you believe that story? That narrative? Oh, go ahead. Tell me the story of how we got all up in your face with it, right? And again, we know what we mean when we say, no, this is not a story or a narrative, when we say that what your fault is being loyal to a story or narrative. But again, it's the projection, right? So projection is one of the ways in which you see this happen, right? Most often, right? That's the easiest way to go about this sort of semantic infiltration, is to just project and redirect, so to speak, right?
Right. They play word games all the damn time. It's like a foundation of their entire worldview propaganda. It's word games. And so they do it with everything. The word God, the word religion, truth, justice, anything. Pick any word that matters in any sentence that comes out of their damn mouths.
Yeah.
And they're misrepresenting the English language.
As soon as he said Fox News, I thought standing for truth, right? Every time you say that damn channel's name, right? He with knowing if you said the full title, Standing for Truth, Biblical Creation, you see what the problem is? You see what
Right, standing for the truth of flat earth.
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness.
That is what Daniel
he needs to walk right off the edge of that truth.
Semantic infiltration. Republicans are masters of semantic infiltration. They came up with the phrase pro-life to mean anti-abortion. Everyone is pro-life, but Republicans seized possession of that phrase so that the news media would call only Republicans pro-life, which most of the news media does, because the news media is highly susceptible to semantic infiltration. The news media is the target of semantic infiltration. Most of the news media will make no effort at all to try to overcome the semantic infiltration that the Republicans are using in the name of their new subcommittee, which, as I said, they are calling the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. It is a subcommittee to investigate federal investigators. So today's the day that Republicans made congressional history by creating a new investigative committee to launch investigations where Congress has never launched investigations before, including ongoing criminal investigations by the Justice Department. That's right. For the first time in the history of the House, a committee has been created to investigate ongoing criminal investigations by the Justice Department, including criminal investigations by the Justice Department of Republican members of Congress, some of whom want to be members of the new subcommittee to investigate the investigators who are investigating them. Here is who the Republicans will not be investigating.
So have you made any decision as to how you're going to handle George Santos in his time?
This is great.
I'll tell you when we do.
So no investigation.
There was another one where they said we're going to talk to him about that.
Right.
We're gonna have to sit him down and let him know, bad boy, don't lie your way into Congress again. That was very disappointing.
Right. Somewhere between the 8th and 9th hole on the course tomorrow, we'll be talking about this.
Pathological liar who lied about every single aspect of his personal history and lied about his income and delivered a mysterious $700,000 contribution to his campaign. No investigation of any of that. No investigation of George Santos.
Given all that we know now about what Congressman Santos lied about his resume, the various inquiries into him at the federal and local level, do you think that he should be a member of Congress?
Well, you saw him seated last week. There were no challenges to that. This is something that's being handled internally. Obviously, there were concerns about what we had heard. And so we're going to have to sit down and talk to him about it. And that's something that we're going to deal with, just like there's a lot of other things we're going to deal with.
So we're going to have to sit down and talk to him about it. George Santos is under criminal investigation by the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. George Santos is under criminal investigation by the Attorney General of the state of New York. George Santos is under criminal investigation by the Republican District Attorney on Long Island. But George Santos is not going to be under investigation at any time by the Republican House of Representatives. We're going to have to sit down and talk to him about it. That is a lie.
While we investigate
Steve
the
Scalise
January 6th
is
committee.
never going to sit down and talk to George Santos about all of George Santos's lies.
All right, James,
and
I have a
possible
question. How did we get this far though? Like to the point where we're going to let them investigate the people who investigated the insurrection.
Mm-hmm. And, I suppose what the Democrats could do is start a committee to investigate the people that investigate the people that investigate the people.
I mean, I don't see what choice they have at this point. This is so ridiculous.
It's surreal.
Oh,
this shit wouldn't even be believable in a cartoon.
I know. So AR said, "Are we sure Santos is a Republican? He lies about everything. Maybe he's a secret Democrat." I literally thought about that earlier. Like
sabotaging plans.
Like that would be hilarious if he was. Oh man.
Go play for the other team and make him look bad.
To me, he has to be lying about being a Republican. I mean, there's no way he's telling the truth about that. But I don't think that makes him a Democrat. I think he's just a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Rebecca's secretly an atheist trying to make Christianity look bad.
So I've always sort of wondered if there's a hold my, so sort of that, here, hold my beer. Yeah, but it's like, here, hold my doubt. Like, if people really sort of want to wrestle with other people's doubt to try it on, almost to see how stable are these atheist people really? If do they really have an answer for this or that?
Yeah, you can't win anyways with their because look,
I don't know.
That Brett Keane guy.
So bad.
So I was on a show one day and we were just talking, and I admitted that I've been wrestling with depression and anxiety, PTSD. That this year had been particularly brutal.
Yeah.
And, he seemed to just be being chill about it, right? But later on, he called the Matt Dillahunty's Hang Up show, and apparently Brett Keane had asked several different atheists over the last day or two how they're doing, and stuff like that. And they all claim to be happy, well-adjusted, functioning pretty good, having a good life, right? And I was the only one that said that I was struggling. And so he went on to Matt Dillahunty's show, and he's like, you know what? I asked all these different atheists about their mental health, and only one of them was honest. Only one of them, this James guy, admitted that he's been struggling, and the other ones lied to me and told me they're doing fine. Right? So how come you got atheists are so dishonest about the mental illness that comes with atheism?
Wow.
And so that's all he was doing, is looking for a chance to prove that atheism is secretly this thing that makes everybody mentally ill the moment you partake of it.
Yeah.
Right? That's all he was trying to do.
Well, I gotta admit,
but he acted like he cared, like he was just having a conversation between two dudes.
Yeah, I gotta admit that he invited us to go on his show the other night or whatever. And he had sent me a couple emails about it. And I said, I didn't respond. And, you told me going in, just before it, that he was a religious fundamentalist. So I was like, and so I didn't go on, but we watched. And that stream was terrible. He's really bad. Really bad. I think he's potentially I don't know. He was as weaponized as Ken Hovind. And
sure he is.
He
plays the game like Rebecca. He acts like he's cool with you.
Yeah, I felt like I would have been set up, man. I felt like I would have been walking into a total setup. And he did try to play it cool. I felt like kind of, I wouldn't say betray because I didn't know him, but I felt like he was trying to betray me. He was trying to butter me up. Oh, I just love for people to come on and have a talk. But he ambushed every caller that called in and talked to him and Kent.
Oh, wow.
And he pulled up this graphic about suicide and basically tried to show that suicide is the highest it's ever been, particularly amongst atheists, and that there's more suicide amongst atheists than all other groups combined. Like, I didn't even know where he was getting this trash graphic from, but
it's not real data. He's not good at researching at all. He just doesn't do real research. And if you point it out to him, if you clarify the data, he'll half act like he's listening, and you think maybe he's absorbing it, but he's not. And sometimes he'll refute you, but he refutes you with fake data, like he doesn't know, like he just thinks he knows. And I've done the research on that issue. In some countries, atheists have the lower suicide rate and religious people have the higher suicide rate. In other countries, it's the other way around. But it is not. In neither case, do like where atheists, for example, have a higher suicide rate, do they have a higher rate than all other demographics combined? That's not a thing. Like, he's just making that shit up. But they do have a higher rate in some countries, including America, than theists in general, right? Like percentage-wise of atheists. But here's the thing, like, that's because so many atheists aren't getting their social needs met, because there's no place to get them met for most people except at a church, which they're not welcome at, which they will be demonized and marginalized.
Or they have to lie and suppress who they are. Right,
and so many of us have post-traumatic stress disorder or religious trauma syndrome from all the bullshit. We just can't, like, we don't want to endorse religion, right? It's a struggle because we kind of do want the community benefits, and some of us do. Some of us do walk into a church to get that. Some of us can't, right? We just try.
And I've even said that about, because I do, and I always tell people don't think you have to, because I do, because I know so many people that just hurts. It's like walking back into somewhere they were abused.
Yeah, it is exactly that. And so, with all that being the case, he's not factoring that stuff in. He's a lot like Rebecca in that way. He's like all the religious fundamentalists. They're bad faith actors. They do fake research, right? They hit up Google and they can't wait to find out what the Creation Institute has to say about evolution. That's the research, right? They don't do real research. And it's the same kind of thing with statistics. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand cosmology, but he talks about it. He doesn't understand evolution, but he talks about it. He doesn't understand statistical suicide rates, but he talks about it, right? And it's just, you can't correct him about anything. He keeps recirculating the whole shit. And when he walks into a room, whether it's your room or his room, and you're talking to him, and he's like, yeah, why can't other atheists be this chill and just get along with me like you do, right? He wants to lower your guard. He wants you to feel like, yeah, I'm being an ambassador for secular demographic, right, with this guy that doesn't like us, and maybe I'll get him to see that we're not all bad or whatever, and maybe that'll help kind of release his grip on fundamentalism or vice versa,
right? But
it's not that at all. Yeah, he's just milking you for sound bites that he can use later. That's all he's doing. So that's why
I'm glad I didn't go on there.
Yeah. The more I thought about
glad
it,
you didn't go on too, especially with Kent. Yeah. So they do that. All right, James, I'm gonna roll some tape. Thanks for being here with me.
Yeah.
Criminal conduct, including criminal financial conduct. But Steve Scalise and Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan are all eager to have their special subcommittee go to work investigating any federal government investigators who are currently investigating Republicans like Donald Trump and Jim Jordan, and Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry, who, according to Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony to the January 6th committee, asked for a pardon from Donald Trump for his possible criminal conduct in trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election. The January 6th committee has evidence that some Republican members of the House of Representatives asked Donald Trump for pardons for their possible criminal conduct in trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election. I hope they go to
jail,
today,
y'all. That's so fucked up.
A Republican on the floor of the House asked the Democrats to, as he put it, populate the...
You know what? It's weird because I fundamentally don't really fuck with the prison system. Like, I don't think it really fixes anything. And as an anthropologist, I think putting humans in cages is just wrong. But, like, I don't know. Like, it's like if we don't use the weight of the system, then what's the point, right? So I don't know.
I mean, we could talk about that some night, like talk about the prison system and what we think could be done about it.
Yeah, sure, it'd be a good episode.
This committee with serious Democrats. That is to say, send serious Democrats to this new subcommittee to investigate the investigators. After that, request for serious Democrats to be appointed to that committee. Jim McGovern, the top Democrat on the House Rules Committee, said this.
I would just say in response to the gentleman who said that he hopes that we populate this select committee with serious Democrats, that he populates the committee with Republicans who did not ask for a pardon, who did not have their phones seized by the FBI.
The Republicans will have 9 members of the committee. The Democrats will have 6 members of the committee. The only guarantee we have about members of the committee not having asked for pardons is that none of the Democratic members of the committee will have ever asked for a pardon from anyone.
Truth.
Today, in his first speech on the floor of the House, our first guest tonight said this.
The primary purpose of this special subcommittee is to interfere with the special counsel's ongoing investigation into a conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election. This is a shocking abuse of power. But it's not just the usual efforts by members on the other side of the aisle to once again do Donald Trump's dirty work. This time, they're trying to protect themselves. One of them, a member from Pennsylvania, had his cell phone seized pursuant to a court order finding probable cause that he committed a crime. Yet he has indicated that he wants to be on this subcommittee so that he can undermine a criminal investigation into himself. My Republican counterparts can dress up the subcommittee with a menacing name, but let's call it what it really is: the Republican Committee to Obstruct Justice.
Before Daniel Goldman went to the floor of the House to deliver that speech, he went to the office of George Santos this morning to hand deliver a copy of a 6-page complaint against George Santos that Congressman Dan Goldman and Congressman Richie Torres delivered to the House Ethics Committee this morning.
We haven't seen a single movement.
AR said that Brett or Kent had a slide saying NAMBLA, an atheist organization, next to his suicide slide. Oh, Lord. That's fucked up.
Wait, what does that mean?
I think it's like the pro-pedo guys.
NAMBLA isn't atheist organization.
On the part of Republican leadership, they have not commented on this publicly. They have not condemned George Santos and all of his lies. They have adopted him as one of their own.
The best outcome is accountability. I mean, we have to send a message that if you defraud the voters, you're going to be held accountable.
Yeah. North American Man-Boy Love Association. That's a real subtle, guys. It's just awful, the worst. All right, sweet. So we did that. All right, gang. Look, it's about to be 10 o'clock. That means that our favorite ministry is about to go live. See that? Look, the Holy Ghost meetings with Ken Copeland and Richard Roberts and Nancy, whatever her name is. Yeah. At 10 o'clock. That shit's crazy. I don't know. We might check a little bit of that out and gather. I kind of want to watch wrestling, to be honest with you. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll put on both if I can figure out the screenage. But yeah, James. So what are your closing thoughts on this motherfucking semantic infiltration?
I mean, yeah, it's just an extension of the propaganda model that they worked on in the Third Reich. It's, just war is peace, hate is love, that kind of stuff. It's just redefining terms to meet their needs and trying to redefine your words to meet their needs so that when you have a conversation, they can manipulate it to sound like you're endorsing them or maneuver you into making statements that put you in a different situation, right? Like,
yeah.
It's just all cognitive manipulation. It's just all mind games and a big psyop.
Now, the one thing I was thinking of is it would be nice if more mainstream news outlets started using this language in a way that could maybe help some people have their conversations a bit differently. But that feels like asking a lot at this point.
Right.
Like
we can ask, but we're not going to get it.
Yeah, it'd be nice if that became sort of part of our national conversation, like gaslighting in a way. Like that would be. But that would require, CNN and all them to get on board.
Sure. And at the end of the day, like, I get what he's saying. Like, I agree with all of it. But at the same time, they are the five families, right? Our government is just different mafia organizations or families operating under the pretense of a legitimate government. That's all it's been for my whole life, and that's all it'll be for my kids' whole lives. And it's just getting more open, more obvious, more brutal. The stakes keep raising, right?
Right.
And so they keep getting more and more extreme. But it's just, even the January 6th thing was one, or actually a couple of the houses combined, the mafia houses, mobilizing the people who weaponized rhetoric to try to wage a street war, a gang violence war against one of the other mafia houses. So, keeping it all in context, even though I agree that, certain behaviors aren't okay, the people who are making this point are dirty themselves. They are all just mafias. Some are worse than others, right? That the ones on the what we call left side of the fence are less horrible, but they're still all mafias. So, it's just going to keep getting worse. If people want to keep voting on these mafias to say, you know what, here's my favorite mafia, I hope they're the ones in charge next year, right? You can. Go for it, right? Like, but, you're the system's going to keep on moving in the wrong direction because it can, and because the people don't have the power in place in the system to prevent it. And the Young Turks have tried for years, many other organizations have tried for years to try to raise awareness and get the people mobilized in such a way where we can kind of wrestle some of that power back and institute some accountability. It's never going to happen. The best efforts have been made. There's too much money behind the system with big money players that decide who goes on the ticket and who gets airtime and who gets investigated and everything else. And they own the media companies. They own them. And so they decide what you're supposed to talk about and what you're not. So even when they say things that are exactly right, like the Black Lives Matter thing is exactly right, but the media companies decided after decades and decades, and actually centuries, suddenly Black Lives Mattered. Suddenly the media is like, go get them, like take to the streets. Right? Suddenly. And the reason was because there was major legislative events happening at the highest government levels that were going to move funding away from the poor people and into rich people's pockets. And they didn't want the media covering it. They didn't want the people noticing it. So there are so many people are marching on behalf of the disadvantaged, the most disadvantaged in our society. And at the same time they're doing that, the most disadvantaged are being robbed by the very government that they're functioning under and trying to get justice from. And so, it's one step forward and two steps back. And because the media decided when Black Lives Matter, because they were told by their billionaire owners, now's the time to play that card, right? Don't play it yesterday. Don't play it when we tell you not to play it. But right now, Black Lives Matter, right? Black lives always fucking matter.
Yeah, and then they did the pushback, and it's like they tried to do the defund the police thing, and I think a lot of states probably did what Michigan did, which is they gave us these big omnibus spending things, which were like public safety, and so they had police wrapped in with fire, ambulance, whatever other emergency services. They had some random shit thrown in with ours too. So through this quote unquote public safety funding, it's like most places just push through increased police funding at the end of the day. Because again, it was strategic to do Black Lives Matter when wasn't nothing on the fucking ballot. Then they let everybody blow off their little defund the police steam. Then they said, don't say that no more because that's too woke. And then it was back to business as usual. By the time the ballots came around, y'all want to vote through some more money for public safety? Yep, we sure do.
Right. And in the meantime, the IRS is going to take a serious funding hit. And so the rich people are going to just be able to get away with all kinds of shit, which is going to take more money away from the system where it needs to go. And then what's going to happen is the IRS is going to be like, shit, we can't even function with so little funding. And then the government's going to say, okay, well, let's get you some more funding to investigate poor people, to investigate the middle class, to investigate the lower class. Let's change some of the laws so you can get more money back from poor people, right? Keep more of their money, because we can't let the IRS go broke.
Exactly.
Round and round we go.
Yeah. All right, gang. Well, appreciate you, James. I'm going to wrap up the stream so we can link up with the gang early and gather. I want to make sure I get to, get to bed early, get some sleep.
Yeah,
so,
I need to
yeah, we're going to hang out and gather. Come link with us. Come link up with us at the Bundy Ranch. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share with your friends or anybody you think may be interested. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you tomorrow. In the name of the Darwin, the Dawkins, and the Christopher Hitchens, science bless you all. Poof!
Zach? Why she wanna leave me alone? Saying all I do is wrong. No rights when they been left turns. Playing that she gotta let it burn. Saying that the hell's not a home. Sunshine cause you heard it all before. Sometimes she don't wanna be alone. Most times she don't want me gone. She don't know I try my all. She don't know I sprung in the sun, but I'm going in the winter, so we good to the fall. Remember how I told you I get it and I win. Now I'm got it, you ain't answer my call. Wonder if I've been moving too strong. Maybe I just been moving too boss. Really hate when the feeling get lost. Nowadays she just dodge my calls. In the game throwing laws like Paul. Young legend Miss John like Wall. And I wish you never met like Carl. Thick game lay it down like law. Made plans but you canceled them all. I was just trying to splurge in the mall. Now I'm home stacking bread till you call. It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking Zah. Stop back and shine. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna ride. We smoking. Stop back and shine. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side.